Welcome to Secure the Soil, your podcast for everyone who wants to make the world a greener place, for people who care about our food system, how we eat, where our food comes from, all the work that it takes to get to the point where we could just eat healthier food. And it started with land and how can we get more land in California, and it has evolved into just talking to people that are actively involved in our system. And I'm here with Kathleen.
Thank you for inviting me in.
Yeah,
Well, I'm excited to be here and have this conversation with you.
yeah, I am. I mean, this is a elder for me, someone who has been very influential not only in my life. I'm sure many people can attest to just the influence, the impact, the way she has just adopted our community and really held space, and it's been a valuable just asset, someone who's just always holding space and always bringing value and contributing in more ways than she probably knows,
Oh,
um and probably in the ways that she knows. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of energy to continue to hold space and facilitate and allow people in. And we're here at Moonwater Farms, right? Beautiful place. I remember the first time I came here uh, during the pandemic, and you gave me some tomato seedlings and just gave me some insight. And that was many, many years ago. Um, I like to say a little spiel, a little formal spiel, give people their flowers as I start. So let me do that real quick, okay?
oh, I might cry.
Don't nah. So my next guest is someone doing something that doesn't nearly get enough attention. Building a living, breathing relationship between land, community, and the next generation right here in Compton. Kathleen is the steward behind Moonwater Farm, a land-based learning space that brings together food, fiber, medicine, animals, art, and community in a way that reminds people that land isn't just something you own, it's something that you can belong to. This conversation is going to get deep, and I'm ready to dive into it. All right. So before I ask you questions, please introduce yourself, share, your journey, your story, and then we're gonna
Great.
pull out the
Yeah.
insight.
Um, I'm Kathleen Blackistone. I started this project with my husband, Richard Drought. He's generally off
Mhm.
camera.
Shout out to Richie.
Shout out to Richard. I am definitely the spokesperson, but this is definitely a partner project.
Mhm,
He's an incredible builder and maker and artist and dimensional space designer,
mhm,
and I generally do the people and the plant part and the programming.
uh-huh,
And my background is actually an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and we started this whole thing as a encore career, something we could do together. We've been together for a long time, 30 years now, and wanted something like make money in our retirement project,
mhm,
and we came up with this idea of an aquaponics farm, which we can get into a little later.
mhm,
And I went back to school, studied regenerative studies out at the Lyle Center at Cal Poly Pomona, and have since become a professor out there in urban agriculture in the College of Ag. And just been completely taken by the world of urban agriculture and raising animals, raising food, raising people, fiber, and just understanding the interconnections and interdependence we all have. I started off many moons ago at UCLA doing political science, so I guess I'm not that far in
mhm.
some ways from that original story, and had a 25-year graphic art career.
Wow.
So did packaging in music, movies, software, games, had an international career and traveled a lot, and what we're sitting in is my 401k from that career.
Wow.
So we decided to take a risk and invest in ourselves instead of the stock market.
Mhm,
It's called a rollover as a business startup.
mm,
And I like to tell people that because if you're out there saving your money and have a chunk of change, and, there's a lot of influence that it needs to go into the stock market. And I'm not saying people shouldn't do that, but this is evidence that there are alternatives. We were talking about that earlier before the camera went on. How do we create systems that we don't even know yet what the rules are?
Mm,
And this place, I think, is a little bit of that.
mm. Wow. I mean, show's over. You know what I'm saying? So tell us a little bit about this space. I mean, this is a beautiful space. How did this happen? Like, how did you?
I'd love to be like, "Oh, we imagined it all
Uh,
like this," but our journey is kind of interesting. We, Richard and I are both master gardeners, so I've been a master gardener for 25 years. I wanted to get involved in my son's, school, and, I guess a little selfishly, I wanted to do something that I wanted to do too.
mm-hmm,
And I met this woman, Bonnie Friedman, and this was many moons ago, again, like 25 years ago. And she was doing something called Gardening Angels. And this is the very early days of garden in the classroom
mm-hmm,
before farm to school was anything. And I was like, oh, I could do this. This is great. And she's like, you need to become a master gardener.
mm-hmm,
You're going to do this. I was like, okay.
uh-huh,
So sign up and work with Yvonne Savio, another elder, and got to do 8, 9 months of training and really understand about growing food. And then Richard did it maybe 5 or 6 years later, 7 years. I don't remember exactly. And when he did it, they studied aquaponics. I was like, whoa, this is it.
mm-hmm,
This is our encore career. This is what we need to do. And at the time, you could not grow food commercially in an urban residential neighborhood. But Compton, which you probably know, second oldest city in Los Angeles, zoned residential agriculture, this neighborhood for 120 years. Legal
mm-hmm,
to grow food commercially. Now
mm-hmm,
you can't have a farm stand, and there were obvious, planning restrictions, but I'm like, "That's it. We gotta find a place to grow food, and we're gonna do aquaponics," and we went across the country, and we did training and spent maybe a year going to all the aquaponics things we could consume, and we found this land.
mm-hmm,
We'd looked at another place down the road, and this one was very dilapidated, and, I am kind of risk averse. And I said, okay, Richard, if this business fails, we should invest in the house. That way we can sell the property and we won't lose our investment. So we spent a couple years doing that and we're done in 2014. And the night we're done and inviting our friends over to celebrate with us, we get a knock on the door and it's a young woman. And she said, oh, I'm inquiring for my friends, and out in the driveway are two incredible horses with cowboys.
mm-hmm,
And it turns out they needed a place for their horses. And we're like, oh, we'll take your number. Not, we're going to build a greenhouse.
mm-hmm. So you were all saying, okay, like you were saying your goodbyes. This is.
Because we're building a greenhouse here. We're growing food in aquaponics and we're going to grow lettuce and sell it to restaurants. Yes. And today I like to say a black cowboy saved us from our banal selves
Uh-huh,
because he moved in with his horses. We had these incredible conversations. He's a dear friend to this day
uh-huh,
and introduced us to community.
mm-hmm,
And he's bringing in the Boy Scout troop. There's nothing here.
mm-hmm,
It's a dirt lot. There's no plants, nothing. And there's one beautiful old grapefruit tree that sadly has passed since we've owned the property. And the kids are loving the grapefruit. I'm serving them drinks in glasses, talking about, I'm going to wash these dishes because I want these kids to inherit a healthy earth.
mm-hmm,
She's like, Kathleen, nobody's talking like this down here. We need this.
mm-hmm,
And grapefruit and how good it is for your digestion. And it doesn't take long for these, 2 or 3 Boy Scout troops to show up. And I'm like, oh, we're supposed to grow food, people, not food.
mm-hmm,
And then we realize it's people and food.
mm-hmm,
But that just we took a left turn.
mm-hmm,
And I got sick.
Mhm.
I got cancer,
Wow.
and part of my healing was doing this regenerative ag master's degree, and, he got me a job at the local middle school in the after-school program. A little trial by fire there, and it it did heal me.
Mm.
I got better and, knock on wood, have been fine ever since and have extensive relationships now in the Black cowboy culture here in Compton and just recognize legacy and place and then maybe obvious, but our own privilege. And I knew we held privilege, but I don't think I really understood what that was until he and I really started doing the heart to heart.
Mhm.
And, I was involved in the integration scheme in Los Angeles. I lived in Altadena. Lake Street was the dividing line.
Mhm.
And, I had quite liberal parents, grew up in the Unitarian church, and we both kind of had an opportunity to explore those. He's maybe 15 years younger than me, so it was very interesting conversations we were having around race, around education, around place, and purpose.
Mhm.
And both Richard and I responded to place, and I think we weren't expecting that at all.
Mm.
We had another home in Venice Beach. We were coming down, we were repairing the house. I'd had this little garden we can see behind us was the very first patch. And, then I kept moving the horses over a little bit and a little bit, and, "Oh, I'm gonna have goats," and the horses kept having less room, and I think he finally moved out in 2016 maybe or 2017, but, really an incredible anchor, and he
Mhm.
introduced me and Richard to a lot of folks,
Mhm.
and just allowed us to start the beginnings of the conversations that were necessary to do
Mhm.
this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think you have done gracefully. I think you leaned into the conversations. You've held space to have the conversations. Um, you facilitated the conversations. You've inserted yourself when you feel like you need to insert yourself, and you've say, "Hey, I'm just here to hold space." You know,
Yeah, it
'cause
became obvious that that was part of the practice, right? That it really yeah,
yeah,
that's that piece around the privilege, isn't it? Like, mm,
yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. I think, like I said, I think anyone who's been here knows you've you've held space, and the respect that you get, both of you get, is well deserved and earned.
thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
that
you acknowledging that.
we've all observed over years consistently. You all operate with integrity, with self respect, with want to be a part of the community, and wanting to share space,
Mm,
and all the different things. I've come in here for peace of mind nights, coming for jazz nights, coming for soul Sundays. Um, you know,
LA Food Policy
yeah,
Council
I've been here for
events.
so many different
Yes.
spectrum of things. Even had a private dinner here before.
Mhm.
So it's well deserved. I think, people are, judged by their character, by their behavior, and you all have displayed, the integrity
Well,
that you actually
this
did.
transformational decade, and, I won't say I have shame, but I'll just suggest that my early years, I really wasn't paying attention,
Mhm, mhm.
and it took me a long time to be paying attention in ways that are bigger than myself,
Yeah,
but it's
which I
really
think
been
is natural because you all were just people getting a house trying to pay for it.
yes,
Like
yes,
this is the
yeah,
conclusion of your,
exactly.
you're not here
Your
to.
working life, I'm gonna do this thing.
I think it's great that you all didn't come here with the savior complex. You
Right.
know, you came here as just
Fair.
people, just trying to be people, and
Mhm.
then you have to develop these nuances and learn and be educated and informed on the layers and the nuances, um, that came naturally. You know, I don't. I think to me it's worse when people try to come in spaces and say, "Hey,
Oh,
I'm here to save
yeah.
black people." You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
no,
one of the things we did know, I
you know.
will say, and with Richard's skills, was we did not wanna tear the house. It was a tear down.
Uh huh.
And
Yeah.
we were like, "We cannot tear that house down and put in a, postmodern
Yeah.
contemporary box." That is gentrification in its
Yeah.
its worst.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time and money restoring something that we probably would be a little bit more ahead
Mm-hmm.
if we had torn it down.
Mm-hmm.
But that just also our values are reuse,
Mm-hmm.
reduce, recycle, right? Like in that order. And so Richard, and you can see we're sitting in a lot of beauty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all almost all of it's secondhand. And I understand why new things are important too in communities, but there's so much beauty waiting and creativity waiting to emerge
Mm-hmm.
with materials, with ideas, with reuse.
Mm-hmm.
I love how kids are, cutting up blankets and making cool jackets. And so I just feel like I want to promote those pieces again for the health of our earth so that there's this long-term capacity of resources. We've consumed so much. We do not need to be doing too much more for a while.
I mean, I always enjoyed the vintage uh feel here. You know, it feels like you're in an old movie. It feels, it feels like you're at grandma's house, but you're also outside. You know, it's a lot. It's just very, yeah, it's very vintage. You
Oh,
know,
that's funny you say that. The
yeah.
Kids of Immigrants, do you know them? It's a streetwear label.
Uh-huh.
They did a whole photo shoot here when they were first blowing up, and it was grandma's living room.
Yeah, it definitely it feels like, yeah, grandma's definitely. Mm. So let's jump into some questions. So I think I already asked you question one. Um, so when you did first imagine it becoming into, Moonwater Farm, right? I know you said it was aquaponics initially. Um, but how what became very surprising to you, what challenged you, or what exceeded what you thought was possible? Just when it came to the farm, when you got to the farm, when you got to the farm concept of okay, we're gonna do this farm thing.
I wish I could say it was like this moment,
Mhm,
and I think Richard and I are very compatible this way, is that we have this sort of organic reaction to what's in front of us. So here come these, black cowboys and their culture, and we're
mhm,
like, "Wow, this is so cool." And a lot of the, cowboys are riding Tennessee walking horses, and I happen to ride, those kinds of horses. It's a gaited horse, so instead of going up and down, it's got a real smooth move to it.
mhm,
And they're riding in the street because that's their space. That's what they have to ride in, and, it really was an instruction on, you know, taking the situation in the moment and not necessarily needing to put something on top of it that didn't belong there. And so what birthed out of this relationship was like, I'm gonna do farm camp,
mhm,
a summer camp for kids,
mhm,
and let them, let's see what happens. And we had horses, we had goat milking, we did plant forward lunches, and again, not to proselytize, but to just introduce and to, show what is possible with a plant forward meal. And they loved it. And we have kids that came to that first week that are now taking care of the animals, staff, not even counselors in training, but they're staff for this year's farm camp. So that was in 15 and has gone every year except last year. And there were, a new nonprofit that came to me, said, "We wanna do a camp." I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
come in here and do it with me."
Mhm.
Well, they're running it now.
Mhm.
And so it's that idea of passing the baton. And I think having the kids here has really influenced how to think about, we were talking earlier about the nudge.
Mhm.
Like, how do we introduce things like that, we can agree that for a lot of Black folks, the relationship with land is no.
Mhm.
That's attached to slavery, that's attached to trauma. I don't wanna do that stuff, and totally, you know, reasonable. And it isn't for me to lead some of the healing parts of that, but it's for us to hold space so that folks can find their own way in, like, there's no wrong door.
Mhm.
And that's why I think it's extended, and the horses were the beginning. So while we're focused on food and the food system, we recognize that fiber, that herbalism,
Mhm.
that food, that, equestrians,
Mhm.
it's agriculture is an incredible field
Mhm.
and largely gets a bad rap today because they're responsible for our overheating, climate, and I'm not gonna suggest that that's not true, and I feel like behaviorally, we're being taught to consume,
Mhm.
not consciously.
Mhm.
And how does me spending money affect you? How does me driving my car affect you? Right? I get to think about we're taught to think about ourselves. And so I think it's really opened up a more community minded or just a channel in my own thinking around how my behavior impacts the larger circle.
Mm.
And I don't wanna make anybody uncomfortable, but I think that, it's also made us more comfortable with death
Mhm.
and the end of the cycle.
Mm.
And being elders, that's a very real thing on the horizon that when you're younger, you're like, "Whatever,"
Mhm.
And not to be afraid of that, but to understand that's your last act of living
Mhm.
and go out the way you lived your life, and
Yeah, 'cause
embrace it.
you call it what encore creative, you
Yes.
call it, right? Which is interesting concept of, like, this is, like you said, like, your second act,
Yeah.
but also something that creates some kind of succession, even if not a direct succession to this entity, but a succession to, like, the whole energy.
Right.
I think you are creating, like,
Right.
something to pass down,
No, I
um,
appreciate you naming that.
you know,
Absolutely.
'cause it is important, and like you said, the succession of because we know how we got to this point of
Yes.
being detached from the land
Mm,
through violence and that
yes.
trauma,
Yes.
and you at least opening the space, like you said, to allow us to create an entry point because we do need as many entry points in Compton as we possibly can,
Right.
you know. Um, and even if the entry point is a jazz night,
Yeah.
even if the entry point is, which I'm grateful I was also able to help facilitate and usher in this inertia of, okay, we can use urban spaces for entertainment, for art, for
Mhm.
culture.
Mm.
So I definitely appreciated being able to come here because I can come here and I don't have to do it myself. I don't have to, at that time
Right.
when I was a director of the community garden,
That's right.
I had to
All
be, I
things.
can't I can't let my guard down and actually have a good night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate be able to, I could come up the street, kick it with the same homies,
It's great.
vibe the same way, and I'm off the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Um,
the first or second Peace of Mind night, and,
it's
the
beautiful.
room was filled with almost all Black men, and I was like, "Wow." I was so impressed with Kenai and the
Uh-huh.
energy and just the beauty of witnessing
Mhm.
that. I
Shout out to Kanai, man.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because, I get a little goosebumpy just thinking about that, and the young man had driven all the way from Murrieta, and it was just, beautiful to see, and all things, move and change
Yeah,
and
understand.
form, and, it isn't always like that, but, it was very clear that was a draw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we you know, we we've experienced the development of Kanai. We've seen it start from him. I'm in 2018, him just doing events.
Yeah,
And
that's a interview you gotta
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm the
that's
type
an
of
interview you gotta do.
I am. I'm the type of Kanai.
Right.
He knows love. He just did a jazz event.
Yeah, with our friend Sarah and Barack.
Yeah.
And the reason we have our grant for Seed to Shelf, which is this youth program
Uh-huh.
producing products from, the food that we grow and the herbs that we grow and the fiber that we grow, is because of Barack and Sarah.
Yeah.
And this is one of the pieces that really works in Compton. I think we have a little bit of a not very supportive political environment, but we have an incredible supportive nonprofit environment.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you have Compton Advocates, you
Mhm.
got Alma Backyard Farms, you've got London with her new CMS wellness
Mhm.
space, and Veronica doing mental health
Mhm.
over in the old Williams sisters
Mhm.
space, and Barack and Sarah doing Unearth and Empower, and the Compton Community Garden, and Compton Cowboys, and connecting. I mean, I could go on and on, and I just feel like there's this growing energy and movement. Somebody was talking about a mural recently that they really liked, and I think it'd be fun to have a mural of all the fabulous nonprofits
Mhm.
in Compton.
Yeah, I mean, we especially us millennials who survived
Mhm.
Compton being the number one murder capital in the country, and then
Shout out to you.
the younger generation who also observed that, I think the younger generation definitely took the torch to say, "Hey, we wanna assert ourselves into making a positive change." And I think enough of us millennials who survived it said, "Okay, we can kinda help you guys out a little bit, but we
Okay.
we survived it, so we're not trying to get too deep into it." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
y'all didn't live through what we have to live through,
No.
and elders who say, "Okay, well, I see that you all are trying to do something positive. Okay, I can help open resource.
Yes,
I can
exactly.
help how I can,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna get too involved in all of that." And so I get a lot of us are like, "Hey."
And I think
Yeah,
there's a naivete, I'm gonna say
yeah,
that on my part. Now look, I did live on
uh
6th and Brooks in Venice in those
yeah.
days. So, people wouldn't come to visit us. And I had a girlfriend when her windshield was shot out, and I've had people shot
Uh-huh.
on my lawn, and so it wasn't
Yeah,
unfamiliar
yeah. Sure,
territory
sure.
because I've always lived in those transitional neighborhoods for
Mhm.
whatever reason, mostly affordability, quite
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah,
Um, and maybe life and beauty and art,
yeah,
because that's always in those spaces too.
very much.
And we have this tendency to talk about the horror stories and miss the beauty
Yeah,
and the richness, and so those are the pieces that, it's for sure worth
yeah, I
elevating.
mean, I love content, I love that, like I said, I love this. I try to, you know, make my mark, help where I can, and then I learn to also not to get out the way, to embrace
Mm,
the continuously flowing energy and not get stagnant or become a gatekeeper. Not to
right.
say you gotta come through me to get to wherever it is you're trying to go. No, go where you're trying to go. I can get out the way, and I can continue to move and flow like water, help where I need to help how I can help, support how I can support, and then get out the way, which I think I'm doing my best at.
Right on.
um, okay, next question. So n- I want you to, I want people to really hear this one. So when someone steps into Moonwater Farm, especially young people, like you said, which has really touched you, and someone who has never had a relationship with land, What are you witnessing in them? Where do you actually see the shift?
There's many depending on the kid and the
Uh-huh.
person and how often they've been in the space. One of those, silent, validation pieces is that people keep coming back.
Mhm.
So I'm like, "Okay, something's working right here." The kids left and told Chef Terry today, "Hey, you really did a great job cooking that food." It was all vegan because that is now I always did plant forward and it's migrated to vegan. And, we do it transparently.
Mhm.
We're not trying to trick anybody, though those are just choices and we try and share
Yeah.
how those influence. So I think diet and, we've had people that are scared of the goats, and then they'll watch people interact,
Mhm.
and they'll make it in there
Mhm.
and pet the goat, and it's the first time they've been around livestock.
Uh-huh.
And, there's probably flies showing in the camera today, just getting used to being in relationship with smells,
Mhm.
with insects, with, crowing of roosters, and then the gentleness of the pond and the way spaces and places that you can go in here to just collect yourself.
Mhm.
So I think it creates a kind of sensitivity around, "Oh, what am I wearing? Who made this?
Mhm.
How much were they paid? How did it get dyed?
Mhm.
Where did that waste material go?" So starting to understand the scope
Mhm.
of where our clothes come from, where our furniture comes from, where our food comes from, and how we move in all of those circles.
Mhm.
And and the beauty of art, the way art has, this capacity to tell us stories that we we didn't even know we needed to hear,
Mhm.
and the way beauty helps us feel good. And so I think using art and agriculture has been an incredible tool for people to build their confidence, uh, recognize their own creativity, and see that it does not need to look like haute couture
Mhm.
or the perfect painting or, that it's really important that we touch on our creative soul
Mhm.
because that's our spirit.
Mhm.
That's our connection to God.
Mhm.
That I know the church does a great job of connecting folks in scripture, and I think art does that too.
Mhm. That sounds like a good book. Art connects you to God. No, I think I resonate with a lot of that. I definitely resonate with that because it is cool to like, I know I should teach a lot of kids how to eat vegan food, like,
Mhm.
at preschool and at a daycare, my church daycare I grew up, and I remember just introducing the different colors and making it artistic and making
That's
we
right.
would make
Eat the rainbow.
yeah, we would make apple smiles and celery butterflies, and, sometimes the parents would be more resistant than the children, and I would
Yes.
be no, I look like, allow them to continue to explore and develop their own palate,
Mm,
nicely, not like telling them how to parent, but just
no.
let me be the facilitator and let me do my job.
And then recognizing, I'm not saying this is true for your families, but, folks don't know how to grocery shop as
Mhm.
much anymore.
Yeah.
And when we're coming from these neighborhoods where there's only fast food
Yeah.
and only packaged food, or that's what I can afford,
Mhm.
it has curtailed our capacity as a chef, and you know
Of
this
course.
deeply.
That's why I became a chef.
And so working with the family, providing shopping lists, providing food, just food, like not making a box for them, but letting them pick what it is they wanna try too. And then, like, we have our collard tree in the view camera there,
Mhm.
just having familiar things as well, so it feels safe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I used to do a workshop, um at the garden with Compton Metro. I'll take the students. We have a lecture. My first book, Your Taste Buds Are Not Your God, is
That's
based off a
right.
lecture where we go shopping, and I say, okay, read the back of that. Do you know what these words are?
Mhm.
Read the back of that. Do you know what these words are? Okay, we get told it costs more to eat healthy, but if you buy an apple and a banana and an orange, I guarantee you it's cheaper than buying a bag of chips. I guarantee you Snickers and candy and junk food costs more than regular healthy food.
Mhm.
It's just the propaganda, just the indoctrination, just the way we've been told to approach it. And also, even if it does cost more, we've been told to put our value lower than the Federal Reserve notes. And I let them know, no,
Right?
you are more important than the Federal
Exactly.
Reserve notes. They print these
Exactly.
every day. They're going to
Right.
keep printing these Federal Reserve notes. Your are worth more than
Mhm.
the dollar. The dollar is not here and you're here.
For sure.
You're here and the dollar's here. The dollars are going to keep coming. They're never going to stop making these dollars.
That's
And now
really
they're just numbers in the computer. They're going to keep putting numbers in the computer.
yeah.
And if you spend all the numbers in the computer on eating healthy, okay.
And I'm really interested, I think, in next chapter being that notion of, the, stone soup. Do you know that one? Where we all bring, something to put in the stew and you
Mhm,
wind up with this incredible
mhm.
meal, and recognizing that, "Oh, I only have a carrot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have an onion," whatever.
Mhm.
But the minute we put the carrot and onion together, it's already better than, I think, one of
Yeah,
them. And, recognizing that I think there's
yeah.
abundance,
They call it group economics, right? Circular economy.
which I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. That's a big part of our Seed to Shelf program.
Uh-huh.
And so economic democracy is something that we're really trying to expose youth and community
Mhm,
members to. And we have a tiered price. We did it for farm camp. We do it when we sell our food items. And we've played a little bit with language, but the idea is that there's a solidarity price,
mhm,
that's a 30% discount. There's an anchor price, that's what the farm needs to stay
mhm.
alive,
Yeah.
and there's the pay it forward
Mhm,
price. And if people are like, "Well, I don't really know where I belong," we give you an idea.
mhm,
Do you have a job?
mhm,
Do you go on vacation? Do you own property?
mhm,
Are you wondering where your next meal comes from?
mhm,
Are you using SNAP? Are so there's a lot of ways to help us look after each other that we, I think, often are not talking about.
mhm,
And I would like to see us talk about those things more
mhm,
and eat more communal meals.
mhm. Yeah, I'm working on some concepts around private chef,
Mm,
um, multi-course fine dining food
yeah.
for the hood
Oh, that's
to expose them to, the I went to a French cooking school. I've studied Michelin star restaurants.
great.
We're not able to get that kind of experience.
Bring that in here.
I'm playing
Okay.
with the concept, so I'm trying to get
Yeah.
things ironed out.
Well, Camila just did one
You know?
with a ceramic artist.
Uh-huh.
And so they made ceramic bowls, plates. I don't know exactly. We weren't here. And then they had a beautiful four-course meal. And that was they mixed art and food
Yeah,
together. And so you got to play and you got to eat and
yeah,
people got to talk to each other.
yeah. I'm playing with the concept and it being um food system centered.
There you go.
Like let's talk about let's have a discourse.
Yeah.
Maybe bring some leaders together. Like you said, bring in those people who are involved in the nonprofit spaces. Let's sit down and have a full dining experience, and then let's really brainstorm how we can really make some things happen and how we can work together. While also let me show you the food that California grows.
Yeah.
You know,
We're so blessed.
we grow over 40% of our organic food in the
Incredible.
country.
Mhm.
It's up to us which obviously it's up to us to go and insert ourselves into this ecosystem of the agriculture industry.
There you go.
Nobody's gonna come say, "Oh,
No. They are not.
And we grow $1 billion of food and we sell it to the whole world and we have millions of acres and that we monopolize. You guys want some of this? No, right? So that's me. I'm trying to my vision starts get us in the city to get involved in the state and get the state to ensure that we create the programs and the things we need so that so that way us in the city can have a stronger food system. We cannot. I don't want to stay. Woe was me. We're a food desert.
No.
You know,
No, we cannot take that
we
lens
can't
at
stay.
all.
We gotta
Exactly.
stop being a food desert.
Mhm.
You know, and the only way to stop being a food desert is to build the relationships with the farmers.
And build the demand.
Build, yeah,
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 exactly.
and get the and utilize as much urban land as we have, and also develop new farmers who we can assert in there, and then develop the political people who can create the legislation.
Mm,
Um, and then we can work together to ensure that we have representation and farmers and our chefs and our food purveyors and our distributors,
awesome.
and our storytellers. You
Yes.
know. Okay. Next question. You describe Moonwater as a land-based learning space, and
Mm,
I do truly love that framing. But help me understand what that means. What does the land teach that a classroom can't? And what does it teach that a policy meeting, a report, or a conference never could?
I love this question. We are always outside here.
Mhm,
So you have a certain kind of awareness. I just had this trip up north into high altitude, and it's June, so it's 85 degrees here. It was 45 degrees.
mm,
And I wondered if you would live longer if it was cold all the
mhm,
time, only because and then I realized it's being outside. So you're watching the flow of the seasons, you're feeling the change of the temperature in your body, and going back, like, you're smelling the
mhm.
smells, and it doesn't feel constrained. I think that's the biggest part of it because, you look up and there's the clouds, there's the blue sky, a butterfly comes swimming through your vision. There and even like the stinky smells
Mhm.
from the goats or, whatever it is, and it makes you feel alive.
I just seen a hummingbird, and that's like one of my like totem animals. So I
Oh,
was
I
like,
love that.
you know,
Yeah, it's that. Like, there's almost no words for it sometimes. It can be I know artists spend a lot of time crafting the perfect sentence, and I don't know that I have crafted the perfect sentence, but I feel like the natural world has so much to teach us about interdependence, relationality,
hmm
reciprocity. We use that word a lot here, and getting us out of our individuation and into our we, from the me to the we.
hmm
I feel like the outdoors does that really well,
hmm
takes us into that scope.
hmm There's a lot of weed that happens here.
Yeah, there
You
is.
know,
There is.
when I come here, I'm excited for the weed. Like I was talking to Jen, it was like we miss those nights. Like we do. 'Cause I just got back from Hawaii, and I was like, he was just like, no, like it was like we discussed like being in a Zoom meeting all day,
Y
and doing all this policy stuff, and then coming here, we could kick it, we could roll one, we could pour up something, we could be people,
Mhm.
we all know we working hard and we all know we care, but we can like, let's just go. You feel me? I'm gonna see you on Friday night, and we gonna turn it up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then comes Monday morning, we gonna get back to it. But we know Friday night we gonna get to we gonna get to this. We gonna be okay with going there and get something to sip on. And it's okay. Like it's
Right
okay.
on.
You're not
Yeah.
a senator today. I'm
Right.
saying like
Right.
now we don't gotta worry about,
Yeah,
so
no, that piece where maybe we feel wholly
yeah,
ourselves
yeah, yeah.
outside.
But it is like the smells and the visuals and the greenery and seeing the collard greens, and like I said, the vintageness, there is a level of like you're hearing everything, you're seeing everything, it's like stimulation, but not overstimulated. It's like a stimulation that's calm,
Mm,
that's and just feels like
and it allows things to penetrate. I think, we spend our lives in the box,
mhm,
whether it's our house, whether it's our car,
mhm,
whether it's our school, and when we're here, we're not in our box.
mhm.
We're out of our box.
Yeah, we out the box.
We're out of the box,
For sure.
and there's danger there too,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
I think for the majority
I
of
feel you.
us, it's a place of exploration
Mhm.
and expansion,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's in our spirit, it's in our relationships, it's, getting the kids to try new food. It just lends itself to, um, thinking differently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
thinking differently.
it I really enjoy also along with the entertainment, I enjoy when we came here and we had those conversations around urban ag and
Mhm.
policy, like, to be talking about it while also in it
Yeah,
is powerful.
yeah.
So we're having these discussions and,
And
you
we've
know
had folks talk about, this is a unique space in that we do seed to the plant,
Mhm,
to the harvest, to the table, to the compost bin.
mhm,
So there's this complete circle,
mhm,
and it helps us understand how we're part of that circle,
mhm,
where we are in our own lives of seed to flower to fruit
mhm,
to compost. And so I think, again, there's a membrane there that we're penetrating almost
mhm.
silently. You
Yeah,
don't have to name all those things all
yeah,
the time, but they come to people in terms of the way they reflect.
yeah. Which I think is also helpful, economically as well because people can see, hey, that's an area where I might like this part of it.
Mm,
I didn't know that that could be a career, or I could be a job, or I could just be,
that part.
something I can volunteer for, something I can interested in,
Mhm.
or they might want to say, hey, I want to actually go and fully, go that route within life. So I do think it is the more we are exposed to, the more we can see what's available.
No, that's
You know,
exactly
so
right.
a kid who touched that goat for the first time could be a goat farmer in 20 years.
Yes, and
You
and
know?
we have friends and colleagues coming in
Mhm,
now that they're making their living as shepherds.
mhm,
So they're bringing goats in to, eat, down the brush for
mhm,
fire mitigation.
mhm,
They're raising fiber. They're, doing natural building. And again, I think a lot of times we're sold like this is what a career looks like. It's
mhm.
Zoom meetings, it's a computer, it's a certain kind of salary, but there are many ways for us to navigate this world.
Which we won't know unless we see.
Mhm.
So, you've been doing this work in Compton for a while, couple years,
Decade,
and once again,
decade plus.
shout out to, and me, like, I do think, that this place matters. Once again, the history of this place, the people in it, what we have all been through, and what has Compton itself taught you about food justice, land stewardship, and what a community actually needs to heal and thrive?
We've had a lot less support from the city and the infrastructure in the city than we expected. I
Yes, so,
think
so is everybody else, right? But go ahead.
yes. And so I think the city has taught us to be self-sufficient
Mhm,
and, um, to recognize the humanness and to, really, be conscious of all the ways in which we're living our lives.
mm,
And so I think, one of our joys is the way, young people, wanna be here and have, really volunteered to do things to sign up, to create the energy, to do the programming, to bring their story in here. And I think Compton has taught us, like I said, a lot about our privilege. Um, and this neighborhood is incredible. So Richland Farms in particular has really welcomed us and honored us. Like what's happened the last 2 days, I was cleaning all the spring weeds. I've been away for so long, and I made these two huge piles. And I said to Richard, like, "Oh, did you clean those up? Thank you." He's like, "No." So somebody in the neighborhood took two huge piles of our green waste and cleaned it up.
Mm,
And I'm like, "Oh, is that because we don't have a fence and they ate our tangerines or
mm,
our pomegranates?" Or I don't know, but that kind of unspoken, um, love.
mhm,
Yeah, Compton's taught us a lot about love.
mhm. Amen.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure,
deep.
for sure.
Yeah, and just taking things at face value.
Mm, man, shout out to the city.
Mhm, mhm.
And holding a community space, it can be hard, I'm sure, or it has its challenges. Because it's not just the land, it's the relationships, the expectations, the funding cycles, the personalities, and the different seasons of everything. So, what has it actually taken for you to sustain Moonwater as this gathering place? And what does that require of you personally?
Um, a lot of hours of work and, quite a lot of money.
Mm,
So we do have this grant that we have for the county right now, but we've never had any outside money.
mm,
We spend all our own money, which in business you're not supposed to do.
mm,
I'm gonna do air quotes "supposed to." But I think that that allowed us this freedom to make this space what we needed and wanted it to be,
mm,
and not be held by an investor, by a grant that wants to see things quantified.
mm,
But the hidden pieces, I think, are maintenance. It's the unglorious part.
mhm,
It's the, old plumbing and getting our buddy in here to help us get that cleared out. It's, ridiculous amounts of insurance for risk management because our culture says if I trip on a nail in your front yard, you owe me 100 grand. So there's those pieces that I think, um, aren't that interesting necessarily to talk about. But when you say what does it take?
mhm,
Yeah, I have BMI on my ass now,
mm,
wanting a license because we had a DJ play at a community event.
mm,
And I've been researching and looks like, yeah, gotta buy a license from BMI
mm,
to have a DJ
mm.
in a community space.
Because, well, I guess like the residual, they're playing
They're not
somebody's
paying any residuals. What did he probably played 50 songs. No, it's for them and their administration, the
uh,
same way that the school board gets.
uh,
I don't mean to diss on anybody, but we spend so much money in administration that if I was paying the artist, I would feel great.
mhm,
I knew that that was going to an artist, I would feel great.
mhm,
I mentioned that I was in the record industry for many, many years,
mhm,
and I used to tell my son, "You cannot use Napster," but that writing was on the wall,
mhm.
and none of that.
I like Napster,
Right?
LimeWire, and all.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
never did any of
It's
that. I
money
was
of
buying CDs. No, but I have
yeah.
privilege and I could buy, and so, it's a balance, and look where it brought us. A very interesting transition that we make through all of
Uh,
these things. Anyway, I it just is and the parking, we had the whole
yeah.
thing with the city and the parking and preferential parking in Richland Farms and it not being handled properly. We had 75 people here multiple times trying to get that parking thing sorted out, and it's on hold right now. So it's a lot of, uh, community
Mm,
conversation and making sure your neighbors are okay.
mhm,
We have an elder that lives next door that's in her late 90s. We've never had an event with music that went later, than 10 p.m.
mhm.
because of her, right? Okay, the people are here,
Yeah.
but the amplification is turned off because we respect her.
Mhm,
We don't want her to feel uncomfortable. We're honored that nobody ever
mhm,
complains here, ever. That's huge. You would not be able to have this kind of operation in most neighborhoods.
mhm,
We were in Venice, forget about it.
mhm,
So I think the ways in which we learn how to relate to each other and look after each other,
mhm.
they're often not always spoken about. So it's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and also for people who will want to emulate what this is.
Oh yeah.
Like people who
Look
might say
after your neighbors.
"Hey, I like that. I kind of want to do a Moonwater-ish type of thing." Well, okay, get ready for insurance, get ready for plumbing, get ready for your neighbors.
Yes.
To the people.
Yeah.
You,
And it takes investment.
yeah.
It does, of labor,
Hmm.
of um, the dollars, and of your, um, time.
Hmm.
So even when I'm not pulling weeds, then I'm on the phone, then I'm on the computer, then I'm sending a newsletter, then I'm reaching out to the school district, and then people become interested. And so you have a lot of external, "Can I? Will you? What about a"
Hmm.
there's a young woman coming on Saturday to do a music video with my roosters who sang here with Kanai 6 years ago and
Uh,
5 years ago. I'm
uh,
like, "Okay, yes, you get to come in and do
uh,
that." 'Cause she gave her soul into the
uh,
space. She had an incredible voice, a great young rapper. I don't know where her career is at. Clearly, she's still doing it. I'm like, "Great. I'm here to support,"
uh-huh.
that kinda thing. And I get exhausted, so I need to sometimes just shut the door.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta take care of
Yes.
you. Y'all gotta take care of yourself as well. Um, so let's get real for a minute. What are the biggest challenges that are facing urban farms and land-based learning centers in LA County right now? And not just the obvious ones, right? But what's some stuff that doesn't show up in gratifications but keeps you up at night?
Well, for us right now, the succession plan is in challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the next year or 2, what are we doing with this space? And it would feel weird to just sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we have an answer yet. A friend's like, "Agro-tourism." I was like, "Oh my god, I think people would wanna shoot me if we took that path." You know what I mean? It's so opposite of what we've been doing to bring outsiders in here to eat food or, and charge lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not in my ethos. I can't do that. And you know, it's I don't know that I have an answer to the succession plan. That definitely keeps me up at night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think where I'm also struggling is, how do we hold land leases, leasehold, and move away from private property?
Mm-hmm.
Is there some way to have an agricultural easement in an urban farm that would, okay, reduce the value of the land, but would keep all this space behind us open and not let another house be built?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how density has become the new thing in cities. And so, if somebody bought this property, the way they would leverage how much it would cost is to put up another house, wipe out all of this behind us. And I feel like that's not the right solution. And yet it costs so much money to acquire the land. there's no way to sell enough vegetables
Mhm.
or even product, value added product to pay for that.
Mhm.
So I wish I had a little magic wand that would open that door that would let me see that's a conversation I'd like to be in community with.
Mhm.
Like what are ways to pass on not even urban farms, but farms in
Yeah.
general to the next generation that allows the generation to build some wealth that looks at, let's say, a sustainable margin.
Mm.
Because, you know, we've been focused on, I need 100x on my money, 200x. It's like, well, wait, what if it was all 10?
Mhm.
We all got 10.
Mhm.
We were comfortable. And again, we go back to that kind of community reciprocity
Mhm.
piece. So I think that challenge is something that it's very amorphous still.
Mhm.
It's not clear. I want to take my policy class this semester at Cal Poly and look at leases for the land at our Spadra farm for urban farmers because we have like 100 acres
Where?
in Pomona.
At Pomona. Okay.
So we want to get more community engagement. And there's urban farmers that need access to land.
Mhm.
But I don't want it to be this purely transactional, you've got 3 years, make it work
Mhm.
on your own,
Mhm.
kid. Like, there's something more there, that's deeper than that, that looks at 3 years, renew for another 5 years, ultimately get 10 years. You know, like, I understand the university's gonna need some benchmarks and milestones, and how do we do that in a way that supports the next generation
Mhm.
to do it their way
Mhm.
too, right? Like, not to be crusty, but to be like, Okay, this is hard for me to accept, but I see the value in this thing."
Mhm.
Yeah.
It takes the next generation
Mhm.
just to want to step up,
Mhm.
which
And
is
there's plenty of folks who do.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think for me that's a major part of creating security soil is to have these conversations around succession, around I think that is a major issue, like you said, in agriculture in general.
Yes.
Um, and is this something that we collectively as a generation are having with the elders as well?
Yeah.
Because we have to have the conversation with you all, and either be a part of the process or at least provide resources. You know what I'm saying? To say, okay, hey, I can't take it over, but I can help find who could take it over. Or say, hey, okay, I'll take it over. And this is how I'm gonna make sure that I'm taking it over. We're gonna come together so you can feel comfortable letting it
Yeah.
go. You know,
Yeah.
which is tough because to take so much time to build something and then just be like, okay, well, it's like what? Like, no.
Well, and even going away for 6 weeks,
Uh-huh.
we had a lot of people looking after things, and I'm like, "Okay, the way people see
Uh-huh.
is always different than the way you see."
Mhm.
And that's the beauty of being human too.
Mhm.
But are there any crucial visions that need to be passed on? Like, don't forget
Mhm.
about this part of the story.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, it's definitely food for thought, isn't it? Like, how do we do that? And I think we don't live very intergenerationally.
Mhm.
And one of the joys of being here, it has been this intergenerational
Mhm.
activity, not just for my own self, but like watching elders come in, watching other youth come in, watching families come in,
Mhm.
and just being able to be in community with
Mhm.
each other and play and do art and eat good food. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place. Okay, so if the people with power, the policymakers, school districts, like you said, funders, county agencies, if they truly understood what a place like Moonwater Farm produces for a community, what would that support actually look like? And what are they missing when they look at these spaces like yours and undervalue them?
I'm noticing with the grant that we have that the deliverables are, sort of missing the story. So they're like, "We don't wanna see pictures. We don't wanna read stories. We wanna see that people signed in."
Mhm,
And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can do that," but that really kinda misses the, mom telling me that the kid totally came out of their shell
mhm,
after being here.
mhm,
And, we've sat and watched these 2 young men on the bench, they're skateboarders. There's a bench in the front yard, almost shoulder to shoulder.
mhm,
And we're like, "Oh, did you meet in school?" "No, we met here."
mhm,
And you're like, "Oh, that bond
mhm.
happened in this outdoor space."
Like besties.
Besties.
Mhm,
And I had to keep calling them back and say, "You guys, you cannot be out on the street." Again, the risk management lady, right? Like, "You've got to stay on the property. I am responsible for you right
mhm.
now." And they totally were great and understood, but it's just, how do I say that to a
Yeah.
grant funder? Like, "You gotta see these 2 kids and their relationship," but it's true. They've made friends. We had a young woman come back for our farm camp who learned all her skills, and now we're paying her to be a workshop leader.
Mhm,
And she told me yesterday, "I'm gonna go back to art school."
mhm,
I'm like, "Oh my god, that is the best thing for me to hear."
mhm,
And she was in the land steward track, learning fiber art.
hmm.
So the it's the intangibles. How do we make that have value? Sure, we can count how much carbon I sequestered, how much food waste I weighed. I get it. I want to do those things too. But I think the most powerful story is almost this conversation we're having today around the humanness of
Mm,
the place. And like, what third space do we have in Compton?
mhm.
Name one. They're growing.
They're
The
gone.
Compton Community Garden. But you know what I'm saying, like,
Mhm.
there's very few outdoor spaces like this.
We got the Compton here, we got Alma,
Yeah,
that's
and Alma's a very different vibe than
yeah,
here.
yeah, 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 very, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, contained, it's
Yeah,
1st and 2nd Sundays,
yeah,
it's 2 that's it, unless you
structured.
go to a event.
Uh-huh.
Yes, uh-huh, and here is a different kinda thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's privately owned.
Mhm,
So it shows you the difference between these third spaces that are,
yeah,
nonprofit or privately owned versus the public space. And we need all of
you
them.
definitely.
There's no one's better than the
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't mean it like
No,
that. But what is that?
yeah.
How do you describe that? And I'm sure if I would spend some time doing research, I could figure that out and have a better spiel.
I remember when we worked with Allensworth
Oh,
and we
okay.
had the event here, remember I was in Hawaii,
Oh, yes,
but,
the Herman Farmer training.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
really cool to see people who, like you said, they went to Alma and they came here where they could see, hey, there's there's a spectrum.
Yes,
There is
exactly.
a spectrum.
The
It's
spectrum
not just a there's a
doesn't look
spectrum,
one way.
and you can adopt
And
from
the
there.
and Compton Community Garden,
Yeah,
one more way.
it's a spectrum.
Mhm,
You know, that's its own thing.
mhm.
This is its own thing. That's its own thing, and they there is a cohesive relationship of okay,
Yeah, like a fabric that's been woven.
yeah,
Mhm.
I've when I first became the director, yeah, I definitely went to go see Erica, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and she gave me game, and I was like, "Man, I wish we could be this I wish we could be this structured," you know what I'm saying? It was like, this is incredible."
But they've also what else can they do? They've had all the money.
Uh-huh.
and they get all the money, they continue to get and again, I don't wanna sound sour grapes, but when you have resources,
Is what you
you
could
get
do.
to build
Yeah,
Alma backyard farms. They
exactly.
didn't pay anything for the land. They were connected to the church, they were
Uh-huh,
connected to Homeboy,
uh-huh.
and so they had this instant infrastructure
Mhm.
that they knew how to
Yeah.
navigate, and, no being having access to the money from the county completely changed the game here.
Mhm. Yeah.
The last 3 years have been extraordinary,
Yeah, I feel
and that is money from the county.
yeah.
And we've hired a staff. We have to do quarterly reporting.
Mhm,
I've been very careful with the money. I always have taken other people's money as my own, and I'm very, like I told you, risk averse
mhm,
and a really good shopper.
mhm,
And so I just take that approach with the public money
mhm,
so that, you need to do an audit, please come
mhm,
in.
mhm.
Please show up, you know?
And they're on the list. I'm planning on talking to them soon too.
Yeah.
They're just I know they're busy,
Yeah.
productive. I wouldn't say busy, productive.
Yeah.
But no, I think yeah, getting resourced and getting resourced to for a vibe, you know what I'm saying, for energy, for impact that isn't
No, they're not gonna do it.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I suppose if you had somebody that showed up and really
and saw it,
yeah, a politician that showed up and got it,
Mhm,
they might do that, or they might help you navigate the technicalities of how you could measure.
mhm.
And we're learning, like, with the surveys,
Outreach,
pre and
yeah.
post and outreach, and, I've certainly come a long way with a lot of those things. That's not my background at all, so, I appreciate having to learn some of those things too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it is needed, but we do
Yes.
need to figure out how to continue to get this funded. Um, so 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So when you think about it's been a great conversation. When you think about the next generation of land stewards, the young people who are going to carry this forward,
Mm.
what do you hope Moonwater Farm continues to make possible for them, and what are you really planning for their future?
Well, I really think Moonwater offers this access to land and, programming,
Mhm,
and not programming that's what I think, programming what the next generation thinks. So I see very interesting kind of combinations with, traditional ecological knowledge, with women's health.
mhm,
There's a young woman who was part of our cohort who is doing, Black women families. So she's specifically focusing on the health of youth, within the family, so the moms and the kids. So, really wanting to do more of that. I had a conversation with a student this morning that is going to be doing, maybe 4 to 6 workshops he's working with, all of the high schools in Compton
mm,
and, raised in the hood too, and so really that's the voice that should be carrying this forward.
mhm,
And, I hope that we always have room and capacity to say yes to the space, and then if there's resources available there, I mean, that's always good. So he's like, "Well, where am I gonna get those materials?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I have some, and we'll put together a budget, and
mhm,
where can we," and I said, "And if you ask, as opposed to me, people are gonna donate."
mhm,
And I think being able to look at philanthropy in a manner of trust,
mm,
right? So there's a sort of a movement in philanthropy called trust philanthropy that says, "Hey, you know how to work with your community.
mhm,
I need to give you the money and not put constraints on you." Now, I don't mean like no checks and
yeah,
balances, but I'm not gonna say you have to put a plaque in my name on the wall over there, and I'm
yeah,
not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, or I'm not gonna take my agenda and put it in your
mhm,
stuff. So, I could see myself being helpful in hopefully, welcoming philanthropy into the space to support the next generation to do their story. I like that idea.
My mind is turning now. My wheels are
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Like, my friend just got, I don't know, not a whole lot, maybe 20 grand from the AARP,
Mm,
because elders are definitely a community that are
yeah.
invisibilized. And so, as our Black community has been and our Indigenous community has been. So I do think that philanthropy is like fashion a little bit,
Mm,
that certain ideas become popularized that will take the focus.
mm,
And it's never fun to have to kind of shift your story and your programming to match the funding money. And that's why you're asking what can the people in power do. Measure J is pretty interesting because it was almost at risk, and they've made some changes in the last week, but that was, I don't remember, maybe 57, 58, 61% of Los Angeles said, yes, we want to see alternatives to jail sentences. We want to see something besides incarceration.
mm,
And that's what gives the money. So kids get exposure to stuff
mm,
that lets them see there's other things to do that can be kind of thrilling.
mm,
Doesn't need to be always on the street.
mm. Yeah.
So,
Yes, we need
that's real.
we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away, sadly. I'm sure you saw what happened on the 4th of July.
There.
It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Rest
The
in
young
peace
man.
to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that young man worked so hard to change the narrative.
I
He
understand.
was out there on the front line
That
being the peacekeeper that he is.
I understand far
Mm,
too well. You know,
yeah,
rest in peace to him and all
rest in peace.
to have my I navigate how I interact with the hood too, because I understand that's
Yes, that's what some folks said.
that comes, you know,
It's
respectful that come with it. That comes with it. Him, the Nipseys, et cetera, come with it. Um, you know, I love my hood. I love my city.
great. I
I
love this city
love
too.
the city.
And I know I'm belong here now because if I walk down the street, people say, "Kathleen!" I'm like, "Oh, great. That I belong here now.
You belong here.
I'm of this
You
place."
part of the community.
Yes.
We have adopted you, and you are a part of the community. It's no way around it. This is your home.
Yes, it
You know what
is.
I'm saying? Let us in your home.
Yeah, and people say "let," and I like to say "share,"
Mhm.
no matter what the story
Yeah.
is. And so I think having these more fluid boundaries becomes a really interesting and important
Mhm.
part of the conversation too, to know, like, what does it look like to have more permeable boundaries and membranes
I
in our
think,
life?
especially in succession,
Mm,
whoever or whatever, you know, is the recipient of that, I would, yeah, to a degree, has to continue that philosophy, and not only
yeah, if I were to say a sacred
yeah,
value,
yeah, not only
it's like if the gate is open, you're welcome.
yeah, and
That is a value we have, and if you've been in here, that's what we tell everybody.
yeah,
And people come in.
yeah,
There've been a couple of incidences, but never anything, uh, that wasn't navigable. Yeah.
then that just took a little bit of straightening, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, final question. Uh, take your time with it. When someone spends a day here, right? They walk away, they go back home to their life. What do you hope that they carry with them?
Mm, I hope they think about their what they eat,
Mhm,
how they spend their money,
mhm,
and with whom, and really value the spirit that land gives to us. And yeah, think just maybe hopefully think twice about some of those pieces, how they spend their money and with whom and
Mm.
not spending money with Amazon. I spend a lot of time looking for alternatives. I never buy from Amazon. I
I feel
refuse.
uh-huh.
And it annoyed me that my son bought from Amazon while I was out of the farm the last few weeks. And so, yeah, like taking that extra time to find the local business to buy the thing from or not buying the thing,
Mm,
recognizing how beautiful it is. You don't need decorating. You don't need to spend all this money on stuff
mm,
and just trusting themselves. I
mm,
guess that would be the thing, huh? Just trusting themselves.
mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, I think a common theme is that land is not just something that we own.
Mm,
It is something that we are learning to belong to and work with. And that when communities can start to reclaim that relationship, we can start to see a real change. And
100%.
I, I commend you, I applaud you, give your flowers for just doing your part to be a part of that change. Um, like I said, it is impacting my life
Mm.
personally, professionally. It's impacting many people. Like I said, we were having conversations about you on fi- other episodes, and I just appreciate you continuing to do the work that you do. You and him, shout out to my man in there in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Richard, holding it down. And just appreciate what y'all are doing, the space y'all holding, and just the energy that you're doing your best to bring to not only the city of Compton, but just in general. I think this energy is permeating. Compton is where you are physically, but we done things with Yancey, who's from Pasadena,
Right.
and I'm sure there's people from all over LA County and everywhere else who's came here and done things here. So I just appreciate the energy being a part of just the LA's ecosystem. Like you're just a part of LA culture now. And it's needed because it's difficult for us to have safe spaces. And yeah, I'm
Yes, and I could never make it a safe space. Like, we
yeah,
need to do that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We have to be like, okay, we good.
Exactly.
Everybody coming like, are we good? We all good, right?
Right, I know.
You
I
good
like
over
that
there?
that cocked head and
Yeah.
the eyebrow, for
Still,
sure.
you still from the city.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, are you straight, right? You straight? Are you straight? So I'm straight. If you good, then I'm good. If we good, if everybody cool, then everybody gonna be cool.
Mhm.
You feel me? And I think that every time we come, we always like, nah, it's cool. And it start coming to the point like, okay, we just cool.
Yes.
But it's still kind of like we just cool, but I don't know him like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm glad this is a great episode. We had a great dialogue. Um,
Wonderful. Thank you, my dear. I really appreciate it.
do you have any closing words you want to say to the people?
No, I guess well, yes, maybe I would only share, that it's been such a joy to know you all these years and to watch your own growth and what I would call success in this space and using your experiences in community gardens as a chef, as a traveler to inform, a very gracious facilitator. I think you do a really lovely job of pulling folks together too and figuring out what's needed in that moment. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you for that. All right, cool. This is Secure the Soil.
Yes.
Peace and blessing, everybody.